Hi, this is a quick demo of the FMADIO PCAP2JSON output and some of the visualizations that can be done with this data. So what I've got here is a number of visualizations that I've created in Grafana. Grafana is a very good tool for visualizing time series data, so hence the reason for choosing that. Here's a few examples of some dashboards, visualizations. So we have, for example, here network throughput. This is simply showing the amount of data passing across this particular network. We can also see how many flows there were in a given second. The key thing to remember with this PCAP2JSON data is that it is lossless. Every bit and byte of data that is passing across the network is represented in these visualizations. Whereas, say, NetFlow or other data types would average out data over periods of time, or would have sample data. This is a complete visualization of everything on the network. So, for example, I've got a visualization here of the TCP flags that were shown on the network. If I expand that, we can see all of the various different basic flags that were on that pass across the network at this any given time. This particular time period of half an hour here, we can see a peak here of resets, which would be potentially something to investigate further. There's a number of different ways, given that the data that we've got within PCAP2JSON, we're presenting data for MPLS tags, for VLANs, for MAC addresses, and for IP level, and even some layer 7 data. There's a number of different things that you can do with this. So if you were looking at traffic on WAN connections, you would perhaps look at MPLS tags and graph those. If you maybe you would use MAC addresses. In this instance, what I'm looking at is LAN traffic, and my primary focus with this is on IP level data. So most of what I have here is based around IP traffic. And so, for example, I've got here my top destinations and top sources at an IP level. Now that could be, as I say, it could be MAC addresses, it could be VLANs, it could be whatever. But in this instance, I'm using IP addresses. So again, I can see all of the traffic that's passing to and from each individual IP address on the network. I've set this to my top 10. It could be a greater number depending on what you're trying to achieve. We can see here as well that we can pick out the port numbers that are being used. So this is obviously TCP and UDP ports. And as we scroll down further, we can see that we're taking geoIP data using the MaxMine database to show the different countries that data is going to. Above that as well, we can also look at autonomous systems. So we can see, for example, here that there's a significant amount of data going to Amazon.com and other autonomous systems around the world. The data itself, I'll quickly bring up a record. So we can see in here all the different data types that are represented or are created by PCAP2JSON. For example, here's the name of the device that's actually generating the data, and that can be used to show data across different points on the network by graphing based on the device names. If you've got multiple devices, so here's all of the geoIP information, including organizations and so on, IP level information, MAC information, and so on. And here's all of the TCP flags as well. We also have the ability within PCAP2JSON to add custom tags. So you can see you've got a couple of tags here. In this instance, I'm not adding any additional tags, but those could be used to flag up particular ISPs or whatever it might be, based on some piece of data within this flow. We could create a tag to say that this equals this particular thing that we're interested in. And then lastly, once we've got the information that we're interested in here, we can create things like API calls back to our systems. So if I click on PCAP download, it's just going to ask me to log into the probe, and it's going to take this using the individual probe that I've got in hand, or that I'm looking at data from, and it's going to offer me the PCAP of that information straight away. So a very, very easy way to get straight from a visualization here into the packet data.